All right, there we
Good
go.
evening, everyone. We are here with the Ask Dr. Renee show. I'm your host, Dr. Renee. If you've never watched the show before, the show is here to motivate and inspire you to live the life that you deserve. I'm bringing the stories of people who are just like you, and now they have gone on to live the life that they deserve. I believe all of us should be happy. No one should be miserable. Life is short. This is not a dress rehearsal. So we're start living life right now. If this is your first time watching our show, some of our past guests have included Paul Carrick Brunson, Elvira Guzman of LVG PR, Shanti Das, the hip hop professional of Press Reset Entertainment, Cupid, the R&B singer, Dance Party, Cupid Shuffle, Q Robics, Felicia Butterfield Jones of Ween. Most recently, we had DJ D Nice, Stephen Russell Hearts of Troop. But you can watch all the old episodes on my website, AskDrRenee.info, as well as my YouTube channel, which is Ask Dr. Renee. So our guest tonight is Mario Armstrong. And if you do not know who Mario Armstrong is, I suggest you get to know him because he is a myth. If you are a watcher of the Today Show, he's the tech guru, go-to guy on the Today Show, but he's been on numerous talk shows, Rachael Ray, Dr. Oz, etc. And so tonight he's going to share with us his story, which I actually saw just a little mini documentary, and I was drawn in like, oh, he has quite a story to tell. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. So if you are watching on Periscope, thank you so much. This is the first time I'm doing this on Periscope. But if you want to see Mario and hear the whole conversation, you need to head over to my YouTube channel, Ask Dr. Renee. And if you have questions, we will take those as well. Just click on the box that says be a participant in the audience, and we'll go from there. So welcome to the show, Mario.
Welcome, Dr. Renee. So here's the thing. Thank you so much, first off, for having me. I'm sorry that it just, like, my electricity just went out on one of my lights. I'm in a new apartment in New York City. I'm from Baltimore. I have a home in Baltimore, but we are living in dual cities, and I haven't quite gotten to the point of being situated in New York to even be set up for anything like this. So if can I duck my head down? Can you go full screen and take me out so I can get the light back on for a second?
Yes, it's fine. So this is a live show, everyone. So we just had a small technical difficulty. Not a big deal. We'll get our guest back on shortly. Does anyone? No, you're not going to be able to hear on mic unless you go to YouTube. Perfect. We're back on.
I'm back. Yeah, so I'm getting used to everything here. So thanks for that. Sorry for the little hiccup.
Oh, no problem, no problem. So can you tell me what was your childhood like growing up in Baltimore?
Yeah, it was, fun. It was, both my mom and dad were very active and interactive parents. They really brought me up with the best of their abilities. And even though we grew up, we never knew that, or I never knew that. And I always felt that the things that they were instilling in me, treating people right, being respectable of others, and thinking about my upbringing and my parents. And I think one story, probably in particular, for those that are from Baltimore, I was born on Fulton Avenue. And it's right near actually where a lot of the recent events that were taking place in Baltimore, on that side of town, where a lot of the riots were taking place. So it's still kind of emotional to me because I could just from my community that don't see a way out and haven't had exposure or haven't had the fortunate upbringing to be able to kind of grow and have experiences to kind of get out, if you will. Still give back, but kind of get out. And so it's tough for me sometimes to just talk about my childhood right now because it's still fresh coming off of the riots and still fresh thinking about how that is indicative of everything that's going on across the country. But there's one story in particular that I probably will remember the most about my parents, and it's probably the one where watching my dad pursue his own record label in Baltimore. What he was trying to do is basically create a Motown in Baltimore. So him and his business partner, Ernie Donaldson, got together and created this record label. And I remember as a kid getting in Ed's car, East Reed Street in Baltimore City. It's like right at the corner of East Reed and Charles. And I would go into his office, and I remember like people coming in and people coming out, but I always remember people like dressed really sharp. People were always like articulate in their discussions, whether it was about the music or about the music business or about songwriting and different things that was taking place, marketing that was happening. And then I remember not going down to his office anymore. And I was like, Dad, how come we're not going to the studio? Like I would go as a kid to the studio and hang out with the drum player and be able to sit on his lap and play the drums. Like I have all these memories of going to these studios, and then come to find out he basically went bankrupt pursuing that dream. He had some success. They did travel overseas. They were big in Hong Kong and a couple of other places, but they never broke through. They never ended up getting like that Philly sound. At the same time, the Philly sound kind of came out and really took over. So the point I'm making is like, I really remember that story the most, probably, or that experience the most, because you could instantly, now reflecting on that, I can instantly remember how meals were affected, how things changed, the stuff that I was eating, the cars not being fixed, just a lot of issues that weren't happening before, we were now going through. And I didn't understand until later that he actually claimed bankruptcy, filed bankruptcy. And it wasn't like the 50 Cent, like freezing and protecting your assets. It's like there were no assets to protect. Like this was like real bankruptcy. And then to see him go through that and still have his sights on a vision, what he still wanted to achieve with his life. And then to see that happen like 12, 15, 17 years later was one of those things that just resonated with me, that people actually can pursue what they want to do. If it doesn't work out and they hit the lowest low, you can still get back up and choose to try to make a difference, choose to make an impact, and choose to still have a vision and a dream to go after. And so I think even early on, this whole idea of never settle or never giving up or just not quitting, or you can create your own destiny, or you put a vision out there and then go after it and really mean it with the right intent and pursue it, started being something that I probably wasn't even really aware of at the age of like 10 and 11 years old. But that was being instilled in me.
Well, that's something to watch. Something definitely to watch. But I'm sure, but as you said, I'm sure it sculpted your whole being. And wait a minute, So what did you want to be as a child? Like, what was your aspiration?
Yeah, it's my aspirations as a kid was that I wanted to be in the entertainment business. I wanted to be in media. I wanted to be in television, or really, as a kid, was fascinated by the media environment. I was also fascinated by technology. And I never really set out to like, maybe I should become an engineer. Like that was never the thought that came across my mind. It was more like, I like these things that blink. I like these things that make noises. I want to understand them, but I like what I see when people are on TV doing their thing and they look like they're excited, or they look like they got energy, or they look happy. Like that was really appealing to me. And I wanted to figure out how I could actually do that as well. But at the same time, I was recognizing that I had this bug, or this interest in the technology, and like how it worked and what made it work, and could I make something, and could I create something, could I tinker with something. And my parents, were very supportive of all my tinkering. Like I'd take apart all types of stuff. I try to take apart a stereo receiver. I would take apart speakers. I would just take stuff apart. Now, I would probably have about a 70% fixed ratio, like putting stuff back together. Like I didn't put everything back together. Everything got put back together. Like my mom will still hang over to me this day that there was this one stereo system that she really, like, it was the stereo in the household, and some of the knobs on it never quite ended up working right again. But they let me experiment, and they were supportive of all my experiments, even if it meant ruining something that they spent their hard-earned money on at that time. So I've always loved them for that. And so I guess that's where it all kind of began. But then, as I went to school, I went to school for communications. But when I get out of school, the very first job that I'm really doing is around technology. So it was kind of like this weird thing that I was always in between the communications as well as the technology. And then I started working in tech jobs and in tech companies and tech firms. But what happened was I ended up being the de facto communicator at that company. So whenever there was a question or whenever there was something that was misunderstood misunderstood is probably a good word. I would be the person that they would say, hey, Mario can translate it. Like Mario can break it down for us so that we would understand what the engineers are saying. So I had some crazy gift to be able to understand and communicate with engineers on a tech level, but then also be able to interpret that, decode it, and then translate that to someone who has no idea what that speak is about. And I think that kind of began my understanding that I have some kind of gift here to be able to communicate about technology to the everyday person.
That is very interesting. And one, I do the show too, why I always talk to people and ask them lots of questions, because I love to know people's journeys, because everyone's path is different. So that is really interesting that you were in communications. I swore I just knew you had an engineering degree. I was like, I'm sure. And actually, I started out engineering. I started out chemical engineering, and I graduated with a physiology degree and went to medical school. My sister is an engineer, mechanical engineer. So I just
in fact, your sister was trailing some of my events with my son today. We were riding around New York City today, periscoping from our bikes. And because I think she goes by food engineer, right? Like that's her.
Yeah, foodie engineer. Yeah, she's a budding chef. So yeah.
Yeah, she was online tripping me out today. So yeah, so I could see how that kind of runs in the family, but you kind of veered off a little bit to your own passion as well.
Exactly. And she was on the Rachael Ray show recently, so you guys have a little something in common. She was on Rachael Ray in May. Yeah.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was a finalist for the culinary school tuition.
What?
Yes, one of 3 people. She did not win, but that's okay, because she is going to be a chef one day.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So this was the first time she did the competition. She had Jacques Pepin judge the competition. He is a famous chef that cooked with Julia Child. He's the dean of the school ICC in New York. And so I know she'll get there soon and very soon. But in the meantime, she's a food blogger, and I call her my EP, because she is the one that watches every episode and like, okay, Renee, you need to do this and that right, and that's wrong.
Family's good for that, because family will keep her, family keeps us focused. They also keep it real.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd be lost without her. So how did you go from being this tech person that's, communicating in the office to ending up on the Today Show? Did they find you? Did you pitch them?
So there's a long story.
Right, of course.
Of that longer story. So it's 2007 at the time. Let me take you back to 2007. I get laid off from my job, and at the time, local market, but nothing nationally was going on at all in 2007. So I say to my wife, look, it's time for us to go ahead, run. You've been a COO for 2 other companies during their startup phase. Like, you've helped 2 other companies start up at the COO level, basically. Why don't you handle all the business stuff that you need to handle? I'll handle all the content, creative, and the marketing, and we can make this thing work. So she's looking at me like, you're crazy. I make more money than you. You just got laid off. This isn't happening. I'm not doing this. So work her enough to convince her that she should do this. So she takes the lead. We put some money to the side, about maybe 6 months or so worth to the side. We weren't worried too much because we had been working on a deal for over a year, even while I was in the deal. with AOL for about $270,000. And the deal was really going to launch the company and get us off of on our feet. At the time, it's 2007. At the time, we were talking about doing a video blog for AOL, and AOL was going to sponsor it, support it, and we were going to produce all the content for it, and they were going to really market it across AOL properties. And hopefully that would have really created more properties, and we were going to have like a bloggers network of different niches. But so what happened was, long story short, we start driving out to Dulles, Virginia, and we find out after going back and forth and back and getting our attorneys and everybody involved and going through the paperwork and signing the deal, we sign our end, we go there to their place to go for a signing party, if you will, and we get the phone call that the deal's not going down. And we're like, what do you mean the deal's not going down? Like, my jaw dropped. They said we have a new CEO that just came in, so they are putting a freeze on any contracts that haven't been signed already. So we're like, all right. We took it on the chin. It was the longest drive back trying to figure out, what does this mean? What are we going to do now? We only have 6 months of money. We started having to go through that savings at this point because we were waiting to get to this signing thing with AOL. So we end up basically going through these 6 months trying to set goals, achieve term goals to try to bring in more cash revenue into the company. Thing you know, it's 2008. It was like the started building up. So 2007, we find out we're not doing this. We find out we're not doing this deal. We go still stay positive, still stay focused, and now we're going through our 401k. Now we're max. I'm doing some public speaking, and that's bringing in some cash flow. That's bringing in some cash flow. So none of the big deals are happening, and then the recession hits, and so then all like supposed to be coming in, the stuff that we had been working on that was like getting rejected, none of that was happening, and everything dried up. And creditors, it was really the most strenuous, frustrating, emotional time that we had to go through. I was, I show my bank account quite often when I do a presentation, and I should have had it ready, but I show my bank account. Oh, wait a minute. I do. Well, that's all right. I have it over there, but shot of a picture of my bank account that shows that basically we were out of money to pay for gas. I was 5 years old, I believe, or so at the time. And it was just one of those moments where I was crying, calling my brother, bumming money from him. She was crying, trying to bum money from her mom. It was really a tough time. And I say all that to say that was 2008. So to get to the Today Show, how that happened was through that time, we decided, and I think people have to make a decision. And until you probably hit some pain or hit some real barrier, you have to either choose, are we really entrepreneurs? Are we serious about doing this thing? Or should we go ahead and try to work for someone else? Like, because if we don't think we can get through this, which in our world at that time was the toughest time that the two of us had been through, if we don't think we can really honestly get through this, then we should just be honest about that and go work for somebody else. So it was that moment of, are we entrepreneurs or not? Are we going to stick through this and fight or not? And we decided to fight. And so the minute we decided to fight, that's when we got like laser focused. Craziness around you, just get to a calming place and be able to kind of focus in. Because once we focused in, things started happening very fast. And so to get to the Today Show, what happened was a little tactic that I try quite often. And that was, we focused in on CNN first. We were like, Mario, let's get on CNN. We watch a lot of CNN at the time. We were watching everything from headline news to actual CNN. And so I said, you know what? I need to get in front of TJ Holmes. TJ Holmes at the time was like a big time weekend anchor on CNN. And I was like, I know if I get in front of that brother, he'll understand my expertise and my passion, and hopefully we can work something out. So he ends up speaking, which is a media event. This was late 2008, early 2009. And so here's the problem. I was in North Carolina, and at the same time that the NABJ convention was happening. And I was in North Carolina for an event that was already on the books for me to public speak. And I only had $200 in the bank account. Nicole and I only had $200 in the bank account. She was with me in North Carolina at this event. And we had to make a decision right then and there. Do we spend the last $200 that we have for me to fly from North Carolina to Florida, where the NABJ conference was happening, to be on that panel homes, and then quickly get out of there and get back to North Carolina, so the client in North Carolina doesn't even realize you left, because you have to be the MC for the awards gala that night. So it was like a very small, like a 12-hour window that was happening. And the long story short, which is too late, I gave you the long story because I just couldn't figure out a way to chop it up and make it short. We ended up spending the $200. I leave to fly down to Florida. I go and I'm on the panel, and I end up meeting TJ, and TJ like goes and gets his executive producer, brings her down to meet me. Next thing you know, they're trying me out on CNN. Get back to the other conference in time to host the awards gala. So everything worked out, and the last $200 seemed at that point to be spent in the right way. And so then 2 weeks later, I end up on CNN, and then I just crushed so up. And so I crushed that, and they were like, can you come back next week? I crushed next week. They're like, can you come back the next week? I crushed the next. That I could at the time, and then started getting noticed. In fact, Rachael Ray saw me before the Today Show saw me. So I got on Rachael Ray first, sent the email and said, hey, I came in and did a very short segment. It was about a minute and a half. And I think this was also a way for them to just try to see if I could really handle being at that level. And I went in, again, only had like 3.5 hours sleep because I was crazy nervous, and went in and just delivered the best that I could do. And then, you know what, 3.5 years later, I'm not only just a regular on the Today Show, but I'm actually a paid contributor on the show. So a lot of people are guests. Some people will even say they're contributors, but they're really not contributors unless you're paid to be on air.
Yeah, that's amazing. But you know, you have to have that, what is it, mustard seed faith.
Yes.
To be able, yeah, you got to have it. And if you have it, you know, it's amazing how the stars will align, because you could have had flight troubles and you could have had all sorts of stuff that didn't get you back to North Carolina, you know?
No, it's so true. It's so true. And it's like, you know, at a certain point, you know, you have to believe in, and you have to take calculated risks. A lot of people lock up because of the fear of failure. Some people lock up because of the fear of success. But I think most people tend to get nervous or tend to hold back because they either they haven't gone through some type of failure before and they haven't felt what that feels like to be able to bounce back, or they are just really so risk adverse that they overthink the situation to the point that you end up presenting more problems than you do solutions. And so one thing that was really interesting on my recent podcast, we just launched our new podcast. It's called The Never Settle Show. And we just launched like episode 1. And in episode 1, I talk about spending $20,000 recently to pursue a dream. And just a real quick point about that podcast is there's a moment in there where I'm reminded about a very wealthy individual that is a close friend of one of my friends. And he said, my friend says, every wealthy individual that he's been close with, and I had to agree to the same extent to the ones I've been exposed to, can really make the hard decision rather quickly. They don't take a lot of time to do the research. Not that they don't do it, They don't take a lot of time to do the research. They don't take a lot of time. And so they take action and take movement one way or the other. No, I'm not going to do that. Or let me think about that for a minute and really think about that intensely for a few moments and then make a quick decision. But most people, a lot of people get caught up in that one moment. Make the decision, don't make the decision. Do I need more information? Do I need more research? Do I need more data? How much more do I need before you actually make the decision? So I think a lot of this has to also, you have to be self-confident about trusting your own gut and knowing that you are a beautiful person, you're a smart person, you're an intellectual person, you're going to bounce back. This opportunity was brought your way. It's your choice to make yay or nay. But if you, whatever decision you make with that, you have to.
Yes, definitely. I totally agree. I did listen to the Never Settle show. It was fabulous. I suggest everyone go and check wherever you listen to your podcast. I listen to them via iTunes. I have an iPhone and download it. Also, you can go to his website, which will have all this information below the video, but it's neversettleclub.com/podcast, and check it out. It is excellent. I promise you, time not wasted at all. And it will definitely motivate and inspire you to get moving and, do whatever it is that you've been dreaming to do. You're on the Today Show all the time. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and I thank you for that, because, I was nervous about putting something out there because I know that I can push people. I know that I can energize people and inspire them. But what I really fear the most is people not being pushed or motivated with a plan of action, with some substance, with some roadmap. And so even in that podcast, as you heard, we assign homework to people. We want people to actually take action, to take some next steps so that they can hold themselves accountable, as well as we can try to hold them as much as we can virtually accountable to making moves and to making progress. And that's where I feel like my gift has really started to kind of hone in on its focal point, is being able to inspire people, use my experiences and the experience, the opportunity and the fortunate opportunity.
And it's unfortunate that some people do not know where to start. And so, but they don't realize that really you should just ask questions and ask someone. There is so much information via the internet to get started with whatever it is you want to do. There's always somebody that knows. Yeah.
It's true. And that's why the Never Settle Club works very well as well, because it is a collective group of other experts and a lot of people in the clubs on the Facebook group. So you're right. There's easy ways to get that information today. The hard part is really taking stock of your own inventory and taking stock of your greatness. Like, what are you really great at? And then what do you enjoy doing? And then figuring out or getting help to figure out on how to execute that as best as possible.
Yes, and I just told this story to somebody else, but you have to realize that once you have the idea, you just need to move on it. You do not need to see the entire picture. You need to just take the first step, because the second one will follow after it, and it'll just happen. But when you waste time trying to make sure every piece is in place, it's not going to happen.
It's not luck. It has nothing to do with luck at all.
Exactly. You gotta, prepare, and you have to, but you have to have an idea in your head. And if you have an idea, it's just all about just taking movement on the idea, because you'd be amazed the doors and the windows that'll fly open to, help you through that journey. So, a lot of people are afraid of taking that very first step.
Well, here's the thing. I do something that's called, I do a lot of visualization. I'm big into meditation, but primarily visualization. And I think for me, what you're saying right there is visualization without action is really a distraction. So you have to visualize where you want to go, but then you have to take action on those steps. What I see most people do wrong is that the vision is big. That's actually a good thing. What I see them do wrong is they feel like unless they're taking big steps, they're not making any progress towards that big vision. And what people really need to do is have a very big vision, but have minuscule steps, very, very, very small steps that you do every single day. And it's tough and it's tiring and it's challenging, but people try to take on more than they can chew. And they either end up feeling very overwhelmed or they end up feeling unsuccessful because they just didn't break down the steps small enough.
And that would lead you to quit. So that's just like with weight loss. Yeah. Okay, you want to lose 100 pounds, but start out with 1. And then, you know, right. Don't get discouraged because you didn't hit 10 in the first week, you know. Right. You just have to take small steps, you know, small steps. And, you know, just like you were on the Today Show and, you know, I've been on national television as well. And people think, oh, they just showed up there. No, actually, it was a whole bunch of small steps that you didn't see that we finally got there.
Tons. Yeah. It's like you work 10, 12 years to become an overnight success. Like that's
exactly.
That's really what it is. Like unless you put like 10 years in on something, then people start recognizing you're like, where did he pop up from? Where did she pop up from? It's like, no, they've always been there. You're just now recognizing them, but they've been working their butts off for the last decade just to be a success tomorrow.
So how did you come up with the Never Settle Club? I know how the logic came there, but how did you even think to start that and to provide that free help to people?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I'm so glad you asked it too, because I think it touches on a few things about my character, our character as a company, the people on my team, our employees, our team members. Like so last summer, I said, guys, what are we going to do this summer? We've been blessed. We've been doing phenomenally well. Everybody's been getting great bonuses through the company. Like we've just been having a great time. The morale in our company is very important to us, and we take the morale of our team very, very serious, and always make sure that we're taking care of our employees and team members. And I was just like, man, I feel like, man, we're on like the top of the world. We should do something like free and big this summer. And at first it started off with the idea of having a bunch of t-shirts that would have a hashtag on them that would have a positive saying, like never settle, or all in, or get clarity, like all these positive sayings. And then my right-hand guy, Shy, he says, man, we got to do something bigger than that. Like maybe there's something we can connect the t-shirts to. And so we started talking, and next thing you know, we come up with this 5-week summer program called Never Settle. And we decided to do a 5-week session online for free and invite people into our closed Facebook group, let them join, and then create video tutorials, lessons, and then have a once a week live web chat with people that are in the group to help them identify what their true passion is in life. If they know what that true passion is, help them figure out how they can accelerate it, and then help teach them which technology tools can help them accelerate their personal growth. So we went through 5 weeks of creating this video-driven curriculum and said, let's just give it away for free and see what happens. And it just, you know, it's all about your timing, Dr. Renee, and it's all about your intent. We had no focus on monetizing this thing. We had no discussion about, how we would pull people's email addresses in to then market. It wasn't like a lot of the content marketing stuff that's out there today, where people are like, let me give you this free ebook, or let me give you this free lesson. You give me your email address, and then I'm going to start hitting you up with things that you could pay for from me. And I don't know, we just didn't want to do that model, and I've never really wanted to charge it to support the content that we wanted to create, and then make that free as much as possible to individuals. So when we did the 5 weeks, we just did it out the kindness of our heart, like purity. Like we we were up late nights trying to figure out this curriculum. But we put it together, put it out there, and then a lot of people enjoyed it, so much so that AT&T saw it, and they were like, can you do another 5 weeks? We'll sponsor it. And then once that happened, we were like, whoa, wait a minute, this is like serious. Still give people value and still make something free, but how long-term can we actually monetize this as a revenue generator in the company?
That is amazing. I had no idea, but that is really cool. But that's, that goes back to when you have a genuine interest in helping people. And I keep trying to tell people, if you follow your purpose and your passion, the money will follow. And it'll follow pretty quickly, usually, if you just stay focused on your purpose and your passion.
The only thing I add to that too is I tell people, do think through how you would monetize your purpose and your passion, especially if you know what that is. It's funny. I didn't know, like if I told you, you know what, Dr. Renee, I knew Never Settle was exactly my passion and it was exactly my purpose. And I would have never known that money could have followed that. And now I'm bumping into some money. Then I'd be like, that's absolutely true. But I didn't even really fully know that was like my passion and my purpose. It was almost like this little test. I was almost testing myself to be like, is this the strongest, the most powerful Mario that you can put forward for yourself? Like, is this the moment? Is this the thing? And I wasn't really sure. So with the advice that with not using my normal advice. My normal advice is pursue your passion and your purpose with monetization. Typically, I know a lot of broke people that are pursuing their passion and the money never comes because they didn't really start to think through about how they can actually monetize what it is they enjoy doing. I wasn't even sure at the time if that was like my thing or not. So it doesn't surprise me to hear your words say that, because that is exactly what is happening. Like I've found my purpose, I've found my passion, and now the money is coming. But I do think that we've also been strategic about how we can monetize the passion and the purpose now that we've really realized exactly what it is.
We do have some questions that are coming in, and these will fall in right now anyway. So Carlotta, thank you. The question is, what's your most effective method for relationship building or networking?
Most effective method. Okay, so relationship building and networking in my mind are two different things. I'm going to tackle, ultimately networking can lead to relationship building.
Right.
And relationship building, I'm going to tackle the thing that I think is the hardest to do. And the thing that's hardest to do is to get in front of people that you really think will have an impact to your thing. So to me, the best strategy that I've been, because then you can build a relationship once you get to meet them and once you get to know them. But typically the hardest part is breaking through, is like getting that meeting or getting that opportunity to introduce yourself. So a strategy that I use that I found works a lot is to attack people at conferences. So what I would do, there's two approaches to this. One is put down a list of the people, the 25 most important people that could have an impact to your passion, your vision, your business, your speaking anywhere near me or anywhere where I can be or at a conference that I may be attending. Once that's the case, then I'd start following them on every social media platform that person is on, and I'd start communicating with them over social media, telling them how you're looking forward to their speech or how you're looking forward to seeing them at this conference, and then just staying authentic and staying true to their timeline and the things that they're talking about, and trying to add a little value or just making yourself known. And then I attack them, I approach them at the conference themselves. When I do a conference hit list, it's very strategic. Like I know exactly where the presenters are. I know which room they're going to be in. I know how much time I need to get from one to the other. And my key is, at a networking event, you want to get to them before the panel or before their speech ends. You really want to meet them before they have to talk. So that's always worked for me. as a strategy for trying to break through. Ups in your local area to help you identify and connect with other people that are in your passion or in your industry that can help take you to the next level or help introduce you to other people.
And this is really funny side note. What you exactly just said happened at Blogalicious last year with you and a dear friend of mine, Amber Wright. She went to help you to get set up or something at the conference. And she goes, and I knew that if I go before he does the talk, then I can talk to him because it'll be a whole bunch of people afterwards. And
yeah,
so,
you're fighting
you remember who she is too.
Yep, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that, and I love me some Amber. So I'm so glad to hear that. And that's exactly it, though. I think that strategy really, really works well, and people don't do the hard work a lot of times before the conference or before the meeting, and you can get so much information in advance and really strategically map out how you're going to meet people. And then the real thing is when you meet them, have something specific ready to go. Like what's the specific thing? Don't say, I would love to meet you. Let's try to get some time with each other. We have time right now. Like you have the moment right then and there. So you need to know exactly what it is you're trying to pitch, what it is that you're asking for, and make the ask specific. Too many people want to help people. The problem with helping people is too vague, or it's very general. Too much work. Either they think you're not polished enough or ready, or you do need to find some other time to do that, and then try. Or the more pointedly specific ask, the more you're going to find successful answers to help you move forward.
And my mother says my first book should be networking, and I'm not sure if it will be, but speaking to Amber recently, God bless her, talk to Amber. If anyone doesn't know her media, talktoamber.com. She has told me, she said, Renee, you have got this networking thing down to a science, and you really need to help people and teach them how to do it. I mean, just the guests that I've had on the show, most of them I had a relationship with, like I knew them. And I was like, how do you know these people? But it really is about research. And people think I'm funny, but before I go to a networking event, I know who's going to be there. And I've researched, make sure that whomever it was I needed to meet, I actually walk out, with their information, and we've set up something, because I know exactly. I went to an NABJ meeting recently, and I knew who was going to be on the panel. And I said, okay, this and this is, these are the two people I know I have to talk to.
Right.
Anybody else will be gravy, but these are the two I have to get my card to. I need their information. And I had already connected to them on LinkedIn. So it was just, and they had actually, accepted the connection. So that was part of my introduction. Hi, da-da-da-da. But you have to know exactly. But when you don't have a clue, like I've tried to help people find jobs, and when they have no idea what they want to do, well, I can't help you there.
Right. No, it's you have to, when you don't have a focus for yourself, no one can create that focus for you. So one of the strategies, I use Evernote like all the time.
Me too.
Evernote is like my crazy go-to. So when there's a conference coming up or something like that, I'll have a note in there, but then I'll have like a headshot of the person. Like it's not even just their name and what panel they're on, because I might see this person roam in the hallways. I'm also tracking their Twitter feed, so I'm also seeing through my dashboard, like, oh, they're over at that coffee shop. Oh, they're over at that particular outside event or whatever it is. Like I have all the tools necessary, from their photo to their bio. Specific ask ready.
Yeah, that is it. And people don't understand, but it's so important. You have to know what you want. And if you don't have that 30-second pitch, and people laugh, but if you don't have that 30-second pitch, you will blow that opportunity. You need to
And let me
engage
tell
them
you,
quickly.
yes, you do. And let me tell you, sometimes what I'll do, so here's another quick tip. If you have anything visual whatsoever that you are pitching or presenting, or it can demonstrate your work, whether that's something you've done for a client already, whether that's something that's showing your passion and you can prove that, you better have photos and video or web URLs already on your device. And you can't rely on the internet. You can't rely on the internet to be there. If anybody hits me if I bump into anybody at any time, I don't care if it's in an elevator, and this has actually happened, but I don't care if it's in an elevator, I know that I can go right to one shortcut on my phone and be able to hit that one shortcut, and I got access to everything I need right there. Oh, you want to see my quick demo reel? Oh, you want to see my TV show pilot? Oh, let me show you. Want to see the Never Settle Club? Like boom, 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 right there in one location on my phone at any time. This happened to me. I bumped into Google, Eric Schmidt, who runs Google, CEO, runs Google, or he's on the board of Google, runs the board of Google. And I bumped into him, and I've given him my credentials, told him exactly who he was walking. So I'm walking with him on a New York City street, and I'm walking beside him, and he was on his way to lunch. And so I just took that as an opportunity to walk down the street with him too. He's already going to walk down the street, so I'm just walking with him. And while we're walking, he's not stopping. While we're walking, I'm pulling up the stuff on my phone, showing it to him, letting him know, like, I'm legit. I'm not some crazy person. Here's the stuff I'm working on. Can I get 10 minutes of your time to talk about X, Y, and Z? And in that short amount of time, he was instantly able to see I was serious, I was prepared, and that I was credible with what I was showing him. So have that stuff. I don't care how you need to carry your portfolio or carry your examples or carry your passion with you, but if you don't have that stuff in your phone and you don't have it ready to show, you're missing out on opportunities to move that networking, to move that relationship building, and to move that help faster ahead than you normally would with just handing me your business card. And oh, by the way, I create specific cards for specific things. So I have one of my cards just has that I'm pitching a TV show on it, and on the back of it, like, it's got my name and all the other contact information, but on the back side, it actually gives you a URL and it tells you a brief description of the TV show that I'm pitching. And then I have a different card that's just for Mario Armstrong Media, or a different card that's just for Never Settle Club. So that way I can give a card that's specific, have more relevancy to that person. When we just do things, it's kind of buckshot, and we don't really think through and focus on how to make it relevant, then that's what happens with our cards or our information. It gets buckshot. So it's a needle in the haystack. So instead of being a needle in the haystack, I have different cards with me at any given time to hit that person with a card that's going to be more relevant for them. So I think that's something that people go to moo.com. People, is really easy. Go to moo.com, make different cards, and that way for your different initiatives, and that way you're giving people something that's more relevant. So when they look back in their pockets, or they look back over the night and they see, what's this card? They don't just get some generic Mario Armstrong Media card, unless I wanted them to have that. They actually get the card that I felt was more relevant, that's going to get some action or help them remember me better.
Wow, that is, I had not, well, the funny thing is I have 2 sets of cards, but I hadn't thought of the 3rd set that I need to get made. But I've been watching this show. Lindsay Parks is my graphic designer, Money Graphics, and Money Graphics will hook you up. She just did Foodie Engineer cards, moneygraphicsllc.com.
Oh, so I gotta check her out.
We have another question. Oh yeah, she's amazing. And she's not, Mario, she's not just cards, all your signage. So if you're going to be putting on a conference, she does those, the pull-up banners. She does all of that. Nice. She works with the core DJs. She works with a lot of the rappers in St. Louis. So she does all that stuff for conferences and stuff. She's amazing. And she designs it as well as she does the printing and everything. So wow. Great person. Check her out. I will send her information now. So we have another question from Cheryl. Cheryl, I think, is a first-time viewer, so welcome, Cheryl. What is your big why that keeps you going and leads you to take risks? And I think I know the answer, but we'll see what you say.
What's the question? What's my why?
What is your exactly?
Oh, the big why is because this is, you should lead with your why, not with your what. But we can talk, that's a whole totally different thing. But my why is because I have found, I think it's unfair that I'm able to be so happy, blessed, and have figured out exactly what my purpose is in life, that I genuinely hurt inside when I see other people not know what their passion is, not care to know what their passion is, or feel overwhelmed, or have never even thought to ask of themselves what my passion is, or have given up on their passion. So I think, that's my biggest why. My biggest why is helping people realize exactly what they're passionate about, what their true purpose is, try to help them get that aligned, and then help them understand how they can profit from that, how they can actually monetize that, and then help them identify technology that can really help accelerate their growth, their personal growth, their life dreams, their goals a lot faster. So my why is very much around helping people live a better life. And in order to do that, helping them find their true passion and purpose will create that relevancy and that excitement and that happiness, and then give them the roadmap and tools and technologies to help them really accelerate. That's why I do what I do, because the answer to that why is because I want to see more people be happy, and I know more people can be happy, and I know more people are going through life just kind of like bobbing and weaving and floating from thing to thing, and for various reasons. We all have either been there or know someone that is, and I just don't want people at the end to have any regret. And I believe wholeheartedly, one of my quotes that I say a lot is that complacency breeds regret. Over time, complacency breeds regret. It's comfortable to be complacent, but comfortable is going to, in the long term, have you looking back at certain things in your life that you wish you did, or maybe you wish you made a better decision about. So that's my why. I don't want to see people being complacent, and I don't want to see people.
And this is why I wanted you on the show, because we have the same mindset. Because as you heard me say, I want you to live the life you deserve. I want you to be unhappy. Life is too short to be unhappy. And we should not just exist. We should be living and enjoying every minute of what this, this time we have here on Earth. So, and look, now I have to ask this because you are the tech guy. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, and look, and even though, I preach that heavy, and I embody that completely, I'm a human being. There are absolute moments. I think one of the things that I really try to remain different than anybody else, maybe not anybody else, but then others, is to really stay very real, very transparent, and very authentic. And a lot of people that have followed me over time know that Mario is what you see is what you get. I don't sugarcoat, I don't hide, I don't try to make me look better than somebody else and market this and market that. I keep it real because I want people to know what's really going on. And for me to even be able to tell people that I want them to live a better life, and I want them to be passionate, I want them to find their purpose. Look, there are times when I wake up where I still question, is this really the right thing? Is this really the thing that makes me so special? And I keep coming back to it because it is. But you get self-doubt. I'm not immune to it. I have strategies and tactics to fight self-doubt. I have strategies and tactics to fight negative vocabulary. I have strategies and tactics to fight stress and feeling overwhelmed. But when it's all said and done, I know exactly what my purpose is, exactly what my passion is. And I've been able to create with other people, Nicole, my wife, and team members, we've been able to create a solid company, a real business that's doing phenomenally well. And, I'm able to do other things now and to grow that, and to not help people live that same way feels like a complete disservice. But I'm always going to be truthful and honest and always keep it real in terms of how I'm dealing with the same things that you're dealing with. And I've been there. I know what it's like to not be able to pay a bill. several of them. Like, I think we all probably have been there at some point, some deeper than others. But I also know what it's like to be, quote unquote, successful and still deal with negative voices, still deal with challenges to yourself. And so I just want people to know, like, it's not all hype. Like, even what Dr. Renee is talking about, like living your best life, like, it's not all hype. Like, we are living in our purpose and we're living directly in our core. So it's easier, I think, for us to be able to share that with others, but we're still human beings. We still get sad. We still can get depressed. So I just wanted to keep it real, Dr. Renee, and let people know, because I think a lot of times people sell hype, but they aren't selling substance. And in this space, I definitely don't want to be that person that's known for selling hype. I want to be the person that's known for giving people substance.
Yeah, definitely. We have one last question. Dawn Day, right now, what's more important, your business or family? And has your quality time with your family suffered because of your success?
Ooh, this is a really, 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 really good one. Step number one, you have to get your team, your family on board. You have to get them on board with your vision. One of the easiest ways that you can try to do this is to get them to help you put together if you have a family and you want that family to be supportive of what you're trying to do, then you need to get that family and your friends around the table and make a vision board together. So what that will do is get them to buy into the process of what you're shooting for. A lot of people won't be thinking the way you think, and they'll end up dream killing without even knowing that they're dream killing. That's the worst dream killer in the world is your partner, your spouse, your family. Some dream killers are straight up, honest. You'll never be successful. I don't know why you're trying to do that. You can't make that happen. Like, that's the obvious dream killer. And you know how to avoid them. You know how to keep them to the side. You know how to, like, duck and dodge them. The dream killers that aren't so obvious are the ones that have self-doubt or don't have the total confidence because they don't have the exposure or don't understand what it is you're trying to do. And when they don't understand what you're trying to do, it makes it easier for them to not believe that it can happen. And so it's not even that they don't really want to believe in you. They actually want to, but because they can't see it for themselves, they don't see how you can see it either. And so one way to get around that is to get everybody visualizing what success looks like, what success in the family looks like, what success in the business looks like, or the passion or the hobby or the idea. Like, what does success look like, and get everybody to make a vision board together is one key tactic. Another thing is communication is huge, especially for, my wife and I. So we run our business together, and there aren't a lot of happy couples. And we have been able to perfect a system. In fact, we're talking about we're meeting with some publishers right here now, working on the idea of publishing a book about this. But the whole idea is you have to set boundaries and you have to set limitations. There's no laptops and in the bedroom. There's no business talk in the bedroom, off limits. You got to be able to have set boundaries in order for your relationship to work and in order for you to have balance. And then the other thing is you got 24 hours in the day. Too many people aren't maximizing their time effectively. And I was one of them. So try using something like the Pomodoro technique. I talk about this in the Never Settle Club. It's a technique that's really saved me to really hone in and focus. And so I'm able to get a lot more done in a lot less time. The other thing is, if you're hustling that side job and you're still working that 9 to 5, well, then 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. is when you make history. So take care of the family during those family hours and be present, be all in 100% when it's family time, and then have that cutoff. Okay, it's 9:30. Everybody should be in bed, or everybody's situated. Now I gotta go and I gotta crush it for another 2-3 hours before I hit the bed. Like, that's just the realness of what you have to kind of commit to if you want to keep a sane balance in your family. You're always going to have stress points, and we've had stress points, but you got to be able to communicate that, and you got to have the family needs to know what you're trying to accomplish. But when it's family time, I've even had to learn this. I have to go all in on my family time, just like I go all in on my business time. And when your family sees that and they recognize that, then there's nothing that can stop you, because they know that you're fully committed, fully aware, and 100% in with them, as well as them being 100% in and fully aware of what it is you're trying to accomplish and how can they support that.
Well, that was just fabulous. We have run out of time. I think you're going to have to come back, because there was so much that I still wanted to ask you. And I'm like, oh my God. But first of all, please tell everyone, how can we support you? Because I want to make sure your show ends up on television. We can be back to back like they got Ellen and Meredith and Steve. We could be Dr. Renee and Never Settle show, right? So.
I'm done. Like seriously, like this is the hardest thing ever. So I need people, like getting a TV show on TV, the way we want to do it, and the positive way that we want to do it. If I wanted to do something negative, I would have already been on television. I've had several offers. We could have done stuff like we produce pilots. People want us to change our vision. Don't let anybody change your vision. Look, pursue your passions relentlessly without sacrificing your morals and integrity. Straight up, without sacrificing. You can go hard as hell, but don't sacrifice your morals and integrity in doing so. So we aren't doing that either, Dr. Renee. So thank you for asking that, because I would just say for support for the uplifting, entertaining, inspirational programming that we're trying to produce on a mega TV level, talk show level, I need people to really jump into the Never Settle Club. The best way for me to prove that there is an audience is to show that we have members joining the club. So whether that's by going to neversettleclub.com, our website, or by going to Facebook right now and typing in the search bar, Never Settle Club, and then asking for an invite to join our closed group. Either one of those two things alone would mean the world to me. If you really got some value or really want to help, that would mean the world to me, because then you can become an advocate when you start seeing the posts and seeing our newsletter pumping out the things that we need people to do, or the things that we're trying to do that we could use your help on. So I appreciate you so much for even asking that, Dr. Renee, because we're out here busting our butts to try to create something that's positive that we know people want, but it's convincing the network executives that what we're saying is actually what people want. And if they don't decide to do so, then we're prepared to try to figure out how to in ourselves, which is why that first pilot, spending $20,000 to pursue a dream.
Also, you did not mention, but I'm not going to forget to mention, if you are on Periscope, and if you are not, you should get on. You Periscope every day. #InspireScope. You've got to watch it. Actually, I was already doing my Renee's Remedies on YouTube once a week, and then I said, oh my God, I should do it every day like he's doing on Periscope. So I started doing mine on Periscope too. But definitely, InspireScope is amazing. He has all of them uploaded to his website, so you can't miss anything. They're all on YouTube. They're all on his website. But InspireScope, just quickly tell people about InspireScope.
Everybody needs to download. Pick that app up. It is a live streaming app for those that do not know the live streaming app. So, and I saw in there today, and the idea with, I created a video series called InspireScope, and that is my Periscope show. And on that show, my job is to inspire you with substance every day, and then also give you some technology or some roadmap or some next step for you to take your thing to the next level. So I would really encourage everybody to download Periscope, check it out, not only check out my thing, but also check out how you can use it for your thing. In fact, on the website, neversettleclub.com, you can click on the InspireScope navigation. Just click on the button at the top for InspireScope and see all the live shows. And the most recent one I did was how you can actually monetize Periscope. So always try to share and give people tools and tactics and success remedies to fix some of their problems. Periscope is now the easiest way for me to connect with an audience in a real way.
So please tell everyone how they can find you on social media, and I'll definitely put all of it in the box below.
Yeah, I appreciate it so much. Ask, is it at Armstrong on Twitter? At Mario Armstrong would be great. Periscope, follow me on Periscope. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see you'll see my Periscope feed come through, but follow me on Periscope as well so you don't miss the videos. And then really, neversettled.com or Facebook. Join the Never Settle Club group. And if you need to contact me directly, you can always DM me on Twitter. I will definitely respond. If you don't trust me and feel like that's going to be good enough, then my email address is marioarmstrong@gmail.com.
So thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you. I just sent him this message like a few weeks ago, and I'm just surprised that we were able to do this. But thank you very much, Mario, for sharing your story with us this evening. People have been tweeting like crazy. We had people going on Periscope and showing the feed. So, you know, this was on Periscope. People showed it on Periscope. So I'm really excited. This show is here to motivate and inspire you to live the life that you deserve. And you can now hear every episode and watch them. That's the new thing. You can watch the episodes on podcast on iTunes. All you have to do is search Ask Dr. Renee, and you can subscribe to my podcast, and I would so appreciate it if you did. You can always reach me at Ask Dr. Renee across all social media platforms. That, of course, is Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, Periscope, and, of course, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. We're almost at 300 subscribers. I'm really excited about that. And, of course, every day you can see Renee's Remedies on Periscope. Hashtag Renee's Remedies every day at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I try to do it at the same time. So I hope that tonight we motivated and inspired at least one of you. As you can tell, Mario got me pumped to do some more stuff. I'll probably be up all night, but it's okay. Please feel free to comment below about this video. Email either one of us and let us know how the show helped you. And if you have anyone that you think I should have on the show because they motivate and inspire you, please let me know through any social media, through my website, AskDrRenee.info, and we'll see if it's a good fit and we can make them part of the show. So please don't forget to, if you have a question, don't forget to ask Dr. Renee. Have a good evening. And next Sunday, I almost forgot, we have Dr. Rachael Ross. Dr. Rachael is one of the doctors on The Doctors, Jay McGraw's show. He's the executive producer. And she's a sexologist as well as a board-certified family medicine doctor. But I think it's going to be a very, very hot night. So please don't miss out because Dr. Rachael always brings it. And she'll answer whatever you ask her. And she'll be honest. So make sure the kids are out of the room because I think that some questions are going to come in. I know a lot of people are very excited to hear what she has to say. She was on Real Housewives of Atlanta this year. And a lot of people were like, we wanted to hear more. So now you're going to get to hear more. And of course, you'll get to ask your questions as usual. So prepare your questions. But Dr. Rachael will be here next week. And I look forward to talking to you guys same time, same place, 9 o'clock Eastern. And I will see you next week. Mario, don't go anywhere.
Okay, well, I'll be right here.